Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Charges have been laid against the operator of the Spirit of Tasmania over the deaths of 16 polo ponies last year. TT Line says it will vigorously fight the charges. For more, we're joined by reporter Sean McComish.
Late this afternoon, the Department of Primary Industries confirmed it had laid charges against TT Line and 2 horse transport drivers over the deaths of 16 polo ponies last year. The horses belonging to trainer Andrew Williams had competed at the Barnbougle Polo in January. They were later found dead after returning to Victoria. The department had been tight-lipped about its long-running investigation until now. Spirit operator TT Line says it will vigorously defend itself. In a statement, the company said it had been working closely with Biosecurity Tasmania for many months and was surprised by the charges. TT Line also noted previous comments from Biosecurity Tasmania, noting there was no ongoing risk for animals crossing Bass Strait and that the incident was isolated. The ferry operator and 2 transport drivers are now expected to face a Devonport Magistrates Court in August.
Professionals from all sides of the health spectrum have met for crisis talks in an attempt to overhaul the struggling Royal Hobart Hospital. The long-awaited meeting found many problems lay outside the embattled emergency department, and it's a cultural shift that's needed if there's to be any change on the ground.
A crisis meeting gets underway. Politicians, unions, nurses, doctors and paramedics sharing ideas on tackling the Royal Hobart Hospital's notorious overcrowding.
If we walk away from today without agreeing that everyone in this room is responsible, that everyone in this room is accountable, that everyone in this room will step up and lead a change, then we will have failed.
The Access Solutions meeting connecting frontline staff with policymakers.
We are facing serious challenges, indeed at times dire, particularly when people are waiting too long for care. And we know that waiting too long for care can lead to serious and adverse outcomes.
Finding many problems lay outside the emergency department. Issues with culture and accountability and discharging patients at the centre of talks. Concerns raised that departments are all acting independently.
Every person who turns up to the Royal Hobart is a patient of the hospital, not a patient of one unit or another unit or another unit. So really trying to get that sort of common understanding that everybody's working in that hospital for the same purpose.
What I'm looking for as a member of the executive is a list of recommendations that it then becomes our job to implement. We have to make sure that we make the changes in process required to improve the patient journey.
Labor remaining hopeful there will be change.
The people who are taking responsibility for those solutions and for that implementation are the people that are directly affected by it and the people that are working in the hospital system.
Now time to prove action will be taken on the ground. Michelle WISBEY, 7 Tasmania News.
Police have charged 2 men with the alleged assault of a Youngtown man on Monday night. The 25 and 28-year-olds, also from Youngtown, will appear in Launceston Magistrates Court tonight, charged with wounding, criminal damage and hooning offences. Police allege the men targeted the Brooklyn Road property, doing burnouts and damaging the resident's vehicle. Police say the 57-year-old from the property was set upon with a blockbuster or baseball bat when confronted by the pair. He remains in hospital with stab wounds, lacerations and missing teeth. Guns have been taken off the streets and drug drivers off the roads in another major police operation targeting Launceston suburbs. Around 30 officers and 3 police dogs surged on the streets in Ravenswood.
Officers and a canine combed through a 4-wheel drive, just one of hundreds of cars checked as part of Operation Orca in Ravenswood.
Here behind me you can see we're conducting random breath tests, oral fluid tests. Vehicles are being searched.
4 arrests were made for people on outstanding warrants. 2 others were also charged with firearms offences as police dogs helped sniff out illegal guns.
They range from 12-gauge shotguns through to small and large calibre rifles.
All up, 580 breath tests were carried out. 2 motorists were stopped for drug driving.
Simply by opening a car door The dogs are very good at giving an indication as to whether or not drugs are involved either on a person or inside the car.
It's the second time in a month officers have descended on Launceston's suburbs. Police say today's operation won't be the last, but they're tight-lipped about which suburb could be next.
Nice deep breath. And stop.
You can rest assured you haven't heard the last of us.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania could soon take a big step towards having its own team in the Australian NBL. Following reports, the league's owner is in talks to purchase the Derwent Entertainment Centre. Our sports reporter Tom Cooper joins us now for more. Good evening, Tom. This could potentially be massive news for the state.
Yeah, it certainly could, Joe. It's understood that the NBL's multi-millionaire owner, Larry Kesselman, is deep in discussions with the Glenorchy City Council to purchase the deck with the ultimate goal to have a Tasmanian team based out of the facility.
This is his script.
Now, I spoke with Kesselman's office today, and all they could tell me was that Tasmania is still very much of interest, with the league keen to expand in the next few years. Let's have a listen to what some of the state's most well-known basketball figures had to say on it all today.
I mean, if I had the money, I'd buy it. It'd be a sensational place to develop, but I don't know how that affects us with the Huskies, whether we're part of his plan, part of Larry's plan, I don't know.
We've been down this road a little bit already, so we'll just, let's hope people make the right decisions going forward. That's all we can bank on, are the right people are in place to make those decisions. It's a wait and see, to be honest. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up.
Now, if all of this comes to fruition, it's unclear as to what the state government's contribution might be to help get the club off the ground, or who would actually take ownership of the team. We know that the current owners of the Southern Huskies franchise are very interested, but they're not even 1 year into their current 5-year deal to play in the New Zealand NBL. So, Joe, still many questions to be answered, but we should have a much clearer idea soon, with the Glenorchy City Council set to meet on Monday night.
OK, thank you, Tom. We'll watch this space. Back home, it's been revealed Tasmania's Liberal Treasurer supported Mona founder David Walsh in asking for federal government funding for his latest project. In a Gutwin said he backed the idea to seek a grant for a new hotel. But the revelation is at odds with his federal counterparts, who spent much of their election campaign mocking Labor's $50 million pledge for the same idea, saying the party was out of touch with the North. The Treasurer said it was an exciting project with significant community benefit. The Kingborough Council is hoping a $50 million upgrade to water and sewage infrastructure will create cleaner beaches when the mercury rises this summer. The reopening of the BLACKMANS Bay treatment plant is the latest milestone for Taswater, as it brings its facilities up to 21st century standards.
Taswater hopes Kingborough residents won't see or smell this $50 million investment in their own backyard. Designed to accommodate 40,000 residents, the upgraded facility has allowed 3 underperforming and outdated plants to close.
I feel we've, well and truly future-proofed this region for Tasmania and obviously for the Kingborough residents.
It can treat more than 8 million litres of effluent a day, enough to fill around 3 Olympic-sized pools. Not that you'd swim in it.
We know we're one of the fastest growing municipalities anywhere in Tasmania, and we need this sort of infrastructure to make sure we can grow sensibly and environmentally safe way.
But not all of Kingborough's problems are solved. Contaminated stormwater continues to plague its beloved beach. So Council and Taswater are trialling a $200,000 drain diversion system.
Putting the stormwater back into the sewerage treatment plant is relatively unusual, but our point is, as long as we can manage the volume, we get a great outcome for our customers. Why wouldn't we try and do something different?
It's left the Mayor optimistic of a sensational summer on the southern shores.
I'm an optimist and I'd love to see it open next summer, but it's going to require a lot of work to implement the solution very, very quickly, and we're hoping to have it in place by September.
Andrew McCarthy, 7 Tasmania News.
Health authorities are warning Tasmanians to avoid eating fish caught in the North Esk River after a substance known as PFAS was detected. The chemical was found in 2 trout, an eel and 1 other fish species from samples taken from a section spanning St Leonards to Coralline. The Director of Public Health says although the substance has not been proven to cause any specific illness, human exposure should still be minimised. There's an estimated 1,600 homeless Tasmanians currently in need of help, and tomorrow night around 60 community members will be bracing the cold for the annual Vinnie's CEO Sleepout, raising funds and awareness for society's most vulnerable.
Gathering provisions for a long night ahead. For this Launceston businesswoman, the risk of homelessness was once a reality.
I, many years ago, had to flee from one state to Tasmania due to domestic violence with 2 very young little girls. It was a very hard time.
With the help of family and community services, Glenda got back on her feet. And tomorrow night, she'll be among 60 community members, bracing the elements at the annual Vinnie's CEO Sleepout.
And I like to give to the community, because I feel like I'm giving back, because they gave me so much that it's now my turn to return that favour.
To understand how important this issue is and how significant it is, especially at the start of winter, for all of us to understand how homelessness impacts the community and the society in general.
The event allows the public to experience the harsh impacts of homelessness for one night.
It's a bit cold, it's very uncomfortable, and raising awareness and breaking down some of the stigma that's attached to homelessness and disadvantage, and understanding that the reasons for homelessness and disadvantage are complex as well.
This year's cause has so far raised around $100,000. The CEO Sleepout gets underway at UTAS Stadium tomorrow night from 6. Rebecca Main, 7 Tasmania News.
Hundreds of local dancers took to the stage at Launceston's Princess Theatre last night to raise money for Give Me 5 for Kids.
Mr. DJ, I wanna DJ play this week on this like no one's watching. Hey, Mr. DJ, keep the track and won't you turn it up.
Night of Dance featured a special appearance by celebrity dancer JETT.
It's heaps of fun going out there. Hopefully they didn't show me up too much, but yeah, it's for a great cause, and it's the first time I've danced in a while, and it's good to be back out there.
With the cast performing a piece by international choreographer PANZIC.
I think watching the growth from the dancers in this community, and also seeing the dancers giving back and giving to such a great charity is really special.
The event raised nearly $17,000. HAMLET Cafe is one of the big winners from the Tasmanian Community Fund's latest round of grants. The charity cafe, which provides work experience to people struggling to find a job, will use its $279,000 grant to open a catering arm. The new venture is expected to attract 200 participants in the first 2 years.
We've had so much support from the community since we opened, and I think getting a grant like this really makes us feel like we're doing the right thing. I think, the TCF have just been amazing. The whole process was really great for us.
HAMLET was among 72 projects sharing the $2.8 million distribution by the fund.
To basketball, and the Hobart Huskies women's side are hoping their dominant win over the Tornadoes was the start of something special in the back half of the NBL 1 season, while the Southern Huskies' run home just got a lot more difficult after losing one of their star players to injury. Despite winning just 5 games from 13 matches, the Huskies are still potentially just 2 results away from cracking into the top 8.
We're still around the mark, but we just need to continue to win. Like getting that monkey off our back on Saturday was great for the whole group. Now we have to use that as momentum.
With the playoff dream still alive, the side is now hoping for 2 underdog wins on the road this weekend, up against 2 of the championship favourites in the Knox Raiders and Geelong Supercats.
We need to keep winning, we need to keep doing what we're doing, and we need to keep getting better each and every week so we can be around the mark.
Now sitting third last on the table following that 21-point loss to Hobart, the Launceston Tornadoes are set to welcome back injured import Brittany Hodges this weekend, a desperately needed addition ahead of Friday night's clash against the ladder-leading Supercats.
We know that we can't compete with them, and we just have to execute our game plan, play 4 quarters,
and make sure we hit enough shots.
And with the Southern Huskies New Zealand NBL finals hopes dashed following 3 losses on the road, import Trey Nichols will sit out the rest of the season, returning home to the United States in the coming days to recover from a fractured foot.
It was a new club. We had a lot of adjusting to do as a whole, and we knew, coming into it, we had to face many challenges and ups and downs that we had to face, adversity, and that's exactly what happened.
And finally in sport, the buzz is building ahead of the 2019 Subaru Rally Tasmania, with drivers giving a taste of what to expect this weekend during today's testing session. The event begins at the Inverness precinct on Friday night with a 1,000 metre special tarmac stage under the lights of York Park, before drivers tackle 200 kilometres of terrain in the forest surrounding Launceston over Saturday and Sunday.
A cool day today, and of course cooling right down this evening as we get into tonight, and a great night to stay in and probably get online or on the phone and help support the children's wards of our hospitals. In fact, Mount Wellington overnight had a low of -4. The highest temperature on the mountain today was -1. Hobart City 11 degrees, Launceston and Devonport shared the state's high of 13, Burnie a top of 12. A few showers over the west and south, Picton the best fall with 10 millimetres, Smithton, Low Head, St Helens and the Islands all 12 degrees, Friendly Beaches, Ouse and Strawn 11, Lyawini a top of 2. Open cellular low cloud over the state today. That blew up from the southwest of Tasmania in that airstream. More cloud wraps around a low to our east. We see that system to the east there a little bit better on the wider map. A cold front is cloud southwest of WA, low cloud over coastal parts of South Australia and Victoria. Tomorrow, a broad, slow-moving high over South Australia, extends ridges over most of the nation. A weak low sits amongst that over the northern bight. South to southwesterly winds at 10 to 20 knots, light winds over the inland lakes. And with a chilly night on the way, we have a road weather alert warning of icing conditions in parts of the central north, Midlands, Upper Derwent Valley, Central Plateau and western forecast districts. So on with that forecast, a light shower or 2 for Hobart, a top of 12 tomorrow, 11 the high for Cygnet and New Norfolk after a cold start, a few showers too. A morning frost and sunny for Launceston, -3 to 12 the range. 12 the top for Devonport and sunny, mostly sunny for Campbelltown after a -3 start. Burnie a top of 13 and mostly sunny, but a shower for Strawn, 11 the high and 12 the top for Smithton. And for St Helens, 13, Swansea the same, a morning frost, but sunny for Fingal, 11 degrees. On Friday, showers over the southwest, south and lower east. Another cold, frosty start to a fine day elsewhere. Mainly fine after another frost on Saturday, a shower for the west and far south. Even colder overnight into Sunday, but mainly fine, partly cloudy day to follow. A cloudy 19 in Perth tomorrow. Showers and 12 for both Adelaide and Melbourne. -4 to kick off the day in Canberra. Partly cloudy weather for Sydney and Brisbane. Partly cloudy in in Hobart as well, 7 degrees. Launceston mostly clear and 8 and Devonport clear and 6 degrees, Joe. See you for the rest of the telethon shortly.
It's going to be a big night. Thank you very much for that, Berth. That's all from the team for now. Have a lovely evening. We'll see you again soon. Bye for now.